the Truth, Money, and Freedom podcast.
Hey gang, welcome back to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Sunday, July 19th, 2020, and I saw a quick story and I thought I would talk about it just a little bit. This will be a short video, but I just want to remind people of something. Capitalism. The word capitalism, what does it mean? And this is Merriam-Webster, by the way. An economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods by investments that are determined by private decision and by prices, production, and distribution of goods that are determined mainly by competition in a free market. Okay, so that's what capitalism is. And if you understood this description, and let's look at free market real quick. That's an economy operating by free competition. So that's what a free market is, once again, Merriam-Webster. So I think we could probably ascertain very quickly just by reading these two descriptions, or I'm sorry, these two definitions within the dictionary, that we do not have capitalism in the United States, and we certainly don't have free markets. The reason I bring it up is there's a story I saw, Welcome to the Crazed, Frantic Demise of Finance Capitalism. And I don't think we could even refer to our banking system as capitalism here in the United States. And it talks about the biggest frauds that we have ever seen before in this article. I'll link it down below. I'm not going to read it to you because I really just wanted to talk about the concept of capitalism and free markets. As I've said before in previous videos, the reason why we don't have free markets here in the United States is because the government keeps interfering. They pick the winners and the losers. They bail out this company but don't bail out this company. We saw that with Lehman Brothers back in 2008. All the banks got bailed out with the exception of Lehman, and Lehman was Goldman Sachs' only pertinent competitor. It was certainly their biggest competitor, but they really didn't have any other competition besides Lehman. So, you know, in this example, Lehman Brothers was sacrificed because Goldman Sachs had to be saved. So you take out their competition, and that makes them more valuable. So there is nothing capitalist about America anymore, and there hasn't been for a very long time. I know that we are a fascist, socialist environment here in the United States, and that's very easily provable. But let's take a look at some of the markets here. This is a fraud. The stock markets are a fraud, and there's reasons why they keep them nice and high and keep printing fresh currency, minty fresh currency, and throwing it into these markets. But the main one is public perception, because here in America, unfortunately, hopefully it's not this way throughout the world, but in America, a lot of people are brainwashed into believing that this is the health of the economy right here. The Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, that determines whether or not our economy is healthy and thriving. That is simply not true. It is not true. There is nothing real about these markets whatsoever, except for the perception, which many people determine to be their own reality. And I don't want to go any further into that. Even the bond market is fraudulent. However, it's not as highly fraudulent as the stock market by percentages, in my opinion. So I still look to the bond market quite a bit. I've talked about it ad nauseum in the program. And oil is heavily manipulated as well. Precious metals, futures markets and spot, all manipulated. It's all a fraud. But you know what the biggest fraud is in the entire financial system? It's central banks. It's fractional reserve lending. These are the frauds. Our money is, our currency, $1 bills. You know, if you have them, $2 bills, $5 bills, 10, 20, 50s, and 100s are all worthless. There's nothing backing them. They're bits of paper with pictures of dead people on them. That's all it is. And this is a fraud here. We're talking about the FX or foreign exchange markets. This is literally currencies vying against each other based on their scarcity and how much it's wanted outside of their own country. If there's demand for like Japanese yen outside of Japan, is there demand for the pound outside of England? This is the only thing that they use to judge whether or not this currency is worth this much against this currency. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is not just to once again hit on the United States for capitalism, saying we're capitalism, we're a democracy. I mean, they misuse these words. These words have meaning, and they're totally misused. And in fact, some words have been changed over time, just because of the stigma associated with them. For instance, fascism. The definition of fascism has changed over the years. But what it basically means is governments and businesses joining together in unholy unions for mutual benefit against the desire, the will, and the interests of the people. That's what fascism is. So rather than keep on droning on and on about this, the reason why I want to talk about this is because the dollars that we hold here in America, by the way, we'll say the same thing about the British pound. We got lots of British friends that watch the program and are in our Discord group. They're worthless. They're not backed by anything. So now, if the scams are nearly up in the entire financial sector, which is what this guy asserts in his blog, you may want to reconsider holding a lot of currency. So you may want to get some silver or gold or cryptocurrencies or something. I know cryptocurrencies are not the same as silver and gold, guys. I get it. I use it as a hedge. But holy mackerel, I mean, something of value rather than the currency, as they keep printing them. I saw an article recently that energy prices are about to go up 30% here in America. Britain just went through this about 2 years ago. Now we're about to go through it. And the reason being is because they're overprinting the currency. This is the reason why. I mean, it's not because energy is more expensive. It's because our dollars are worth less. Worth less, not worthless. So, so I can, stay clear here. Although they are worthless in the regard that they literally have nothing backing them up. The fact that, the guy down the street is willing to take a $20 bill from you in exchange for service or good shows you that it still has value, but it's psychological value only. There's no physical intrinsic value with cash, except for the possibility of starting fires or wiping your butt, because it is paper, and paper does have a certain amount of value. So that's all I wanted to say. Let's remember that capitalism and free markets just don't exist here in the United States because government intervenes in business constantly, and that's a tenet of socialism. That is not a tenet of a capitalist society. We don't have free markets. There's a lot of people that have corporations that are constantly trying to get money from the government, and that shouldn't be allowed either. You sink or swim, you fail or succeed on your own merits, on your own ideas, on your own innovations, on your own inventions. And that's simply not allowed here in the United States. There are some companies that should be failing right now. They're not allowed to fail because of public perception. Caterpillar is one that comes to mind. Boeing is another one that comes to mind. Boeing's a defense contractor. The government won't let them go down. Caterpillar is seen around the world as if the Caterpillar, company goes down, then we're in a world depression because they build the earth digging machines, and from there we build new things. And so that's the perception. There are perceptions that must be maintained by the status quo elitists in order to keep people buying things, keeping their money in the bank, to not freak out and want to buy silver and gold. There's reasons for all of this. That's all I really had to say, and I have to keep it short today. So you guys all take care, have a wonderful day, and may God bless you all.